Live from 27 boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.
Okay, we continue with the weekly. My name is Sam Marshall. A little bit earlier, we had a chat to Erica and Carlisle, who are the owners of Firequell Publishing. They've been listed in America on the US Today's top fiction list, top list of fiction writers to watch out for, and that normally means that you have to sell over 6,500 copies, and they're now on that list. So there's some promising things happening for fiction writers in South Africa. On to my second interview this morning. Quite an interesting read. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm going to let the man speak for himself. I'm joined by Kegan Hertz, and I'll find out in a second if the pronunciation of his surname is correct. The book is called A Ball in the Mud, a football tale like no other. Kegan Hertz, the way I'm saying it, is that correct?
100% right. Yeah.
Okay, so for the benefit of our viewers, Kegan, just give us a synopsis of A Ball in the Mud.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me, Sam. It's great to be here. Synopsis, yeah, it's about a young boy who grows up a very harsh environment, tough township and poverty, painful poverty. Mother that's a domestic worker, father that's a miner. He goes through a lot of emotional turmoil, and financially they struggle. Just to get a meal on the table is a victory for the day. So, but one thing that provides him escape from this life is around ball. Football provides him with all the love and all the hope he needs. So what he does is practice every day of his life, and he gets to a stage where he does get accepted into Silver Stars, the Rustenburg-based team. He goes through a great journey with his close friends and things like that. But the book takes a twist that most people wouldn't like or expect, and it takes him on a new journey that helps him learn the real beauty of football, the real beauty of himself as a human being, and the real beauty of what this planet is all about through the game of football. So it's as much as a sports book as well as a self-discovery book of this terrifying stat of the amount of depressed teenagers, the troubles in schools emotionally, mentally, problems in our football. Don't even go start there. That's what really got me to want to write the book for them, because I coached for 6 or 7 years, or young footballers, old footballers, and the emotional, mental problems were far greater than the football problems, and I couldn't handle it anymore, and I had to get the word out to try and help and try and create a little bit more peace and happiness in the lives of the children in this country.
And you know what? That's evident because through much of the book, you go through these moments where, especially the conversation between, is it TJ?
Tulani Jabu.
Yeah. TJ and his boss. Excuse me. He goes, a situation happens. He ends up staying with the boss. We just play an ad quickly? I'm having a coffee bit.
Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.beastownmedia.co.za.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za.
Okay, we're back. You're listening to The Weekly. I've got to apologize. I had a coughing fit, second to none. I think it was my 3-year-old that gave me something. And just a final goodbye to Daddy before he last seen me this morning. I wanted to talk about the motivational aspect, something you touched on, Kegan, which I think is really powerful because it comes through the book a lot. And there's these beautiful little interactions between TJ and the owner of the petrol station.
Mechanic, yeah.
Yeah, the mechanic. And the kind of questions that he ends up asking the mechanic is the kind of questions that I could see playing themselves out between people, especially around what your conscious and your subconscious is doing, how your how an action is still more powerful than a thought. Yep.
Spot on. No, yeah, you hit the nail on the head in that it's, the TJ is a lot of what he says and does is our own mind and our own emotions that tend to be so reactive and so compulsive, and the mechanic is almost the conscious behind it, the soul, if you want, that he kind of eases all these stresses, all these pains, kind of the thousands of problems you think you have in your life are not that important, because all of them are up here. When you actually face a real life problem, it's easy to deal with, but because as human beings we've got one of the greatest tools in our brains, but we don't know how to use them properly. And I'm trying to teach people how to direct your thoughts into something more meaningful to you. Don't let it run away with you. Don't let it fill you up with so much negativity, and at the end of the day you don't become productive or produce anything from it. Even from an emotional point of view, it's exactly the same thing, where this heart takes control of you. And certain I had a child, grade 4. I'm training him, and he says, "No, I'm not in a good space today." I say, "Why, boy?" He says, "No, his girlfriend broke up with him at 10 years old." These are the things. These are the things I started hearing, and I was like, "You can't play
10
football,
years old.
because you have a breakup with your girlfriend." I was like, "No, come on, champ, come on." So it's that type of thing really got to me, where you had to try and help these kids deal, because they're exposed to so much,
But there's something you do in this book which I'm guilty of as a parent, and I have to be honest. We tell our children that and I think the mechanic does very well is something, he teaches TJ something that TJ never thought about. So based on your synopsis, just a reminder, TJ is this young boy, great soccer player, not the best soccer player, but he produces, and he is hardworking, and he understands the value of a goal, even though the goal is orientated wrong in his life. So there's a skill that or there's something the mechanic tells him that we never tell our children. Well, some of us do, but we don't say it often enough. And up to that point, TJ never thought that he could enjoy the game.
Spot on.
And that was the irony for him. And I think maybe when I read through the first bit, I was a little bit annoyed with you, because I'm not going to give it away. I want people to read about what happens to TJ and how he ends up with the mechanic and all that kind of stuff. So that I'll try to keep a secret. But here is a boy who is dedicated, passionate, hardworking, is willing to do the sacrifices, has seen the goal, but still doesn't, in that first kind of segment, still doesn't get what he actually desires. And there's an element, and a lot of us, we wake up every morning, we work incredibly hard, we do what we need to do, we tick the right boxes, but we see no progress.
Spot on. I think, and that's what I want to touch on, in that there's more to it than that aspect of it all. There's a lot deeper meaning to who we are as human beings, our actual reason for being here. That's kind of what it took him through, to take him all the way back to the beginning, take him back to where it all went wrong for me emotionally, mentally, and to start to see like you are far more than this flesh and bones. You know what I mean? You are capable of more than you realize, and that and like you say, it's not really the what you do, it's how you do it that matters. And if it's the his what was all money, prestige, getting out of a life he hated.
Well, I mean, look, he does. He witnesses not mob justice, but he witnesses his brother Peño being murdered in front of him, being shot twice in the chest.
Difficult. And that this is the thing. I've spent a lot of time with TJs, so to speak, around the country. There's not one TJ. There's thousands around the country, and that's where my heart bleeds for them. In that difficulties that they have to face to get to where they want to get to. It requires that hard work, that sacrifice, that dedication. And when the time was right, he met a person that will take him to the next level. He gave everything of himself, and it still was not enough. But when what happens in life, as a lot of people will find, when you've given everything, it will still find a path for you, even though it wasn't supposed the path you thought it would be. And that's what happens to him. He thought this was his goal. Life threw him off the track, and it kind of said, yeah, you got to learn a bit more before you can go, before you can get back on your path.
And how is it that, for me, which I thought was very interesting, that somebody who, you can say what you want about his father, the fact that his father doesn't nurture the soccer dream in the way he would like, even calls his dad out about it one day when they're sitting around the table. He has a supportive mother. He's got support from family members in one way or another. He's got close friends. He's part of a community, and yet he's so alone.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth for all of us? You know, it's as much as you can have as many people as you want around you that love you, but if you don't have that inner love for yourself, it means nothing, you know. And that's what you've got to try and nurture in children and people, and that you've got to first be who you are, find the love in your life that you really love, and not what everyone around you thinks you should be doing, or what the society thinks you should be doing. Like, this is the right way to do things. I mean, I should never have been a writer ever. I mean, I had a dream when I was a kid. I used to write a lot, but I got pushed into football because I love it with all my heart. I followed my heart and my parents' advice, and life gave me the opportunity to write this book. I didn't think, I didn't go to get a fancy journalist degree or do all these things and practice writing. But one day I had a dream, and I woke up in the morning remembering the dream, telling me to write a book, and it came from something beyond me. And that's what I try and get across in TJ, and that his football ability and love comes from something beyond him, not so much your thoughts and your emotions, which are redundant, you know. So if you want to really explore and explore who you are, you've got to be able to go deep, ask the meaningful questions that are asked in the book, and really find out who you are before you can start finding the love from someone else. You've got to love yourself before anyone else can, you know. And that's also what, like you say, in terms of loving the game. He didn't actually do that. He saw it as a job. Yeah, he saw it as a job and a sacrifice. And so many people do jobs like that. They think it's their dream, but they're actually miserable behind it all.
And you know, the juxtaposition here is that you've got somebody who is the leading goal scorer, 13 goals, I think.
Yeah, it was.
At his level, who, even in the last game that they ended up winning 1-0, contributed to that goal, who was a valuable asset to the team. Everybody recognizes his work ethic. It's even mentioned by the coach. And then the coach says something in that address. I think it was their final game, and there was a couple of days before they made the announcement
of the squad,
who would go into the reserve team. And the coach makes such a powerful statement, but I think, and that's sometimes, I think, the problem with all of us. You can't see the opportunity in despair, because the coach does say, and I mean, and he does say, and I don't know, maybe somehow it is directed to TJ, where he says, come and have a chat to me about your future, and we can work it out.
100%.
And you're so caught up you're so reactionary to what's happened that you can't even see that there's a potential for something completely different. And I'm not saying he could have stayed another year in that team. Maybe he could have, whatever it is, or maybe he needed to run away in order.
Trial. Exactly, and that's the lesson he had to learn, was that because his emotional reactions were thwarting him the whole time, and that's what happened even when he went home and he destroyed the house. That emotional reaction had let him down all his life, and he needed to learn how to handle his emotions before he could go forward in his football career and in his life and what he wanted to achieve. So it wasn't just him; it was with his father. His emotions reacted. It was when he meets his later on when he has that fight with the drug addict, you know. So and like meeting a man like the mechanic almost saved his life. And I think what I want people to understand about the mechanic is that it is your own subconscious, your own inner being that's talking to you. You know, you can find any of the answers. You ask the right questions, life will provide the answers for you when you're ready for them.
Okay, let's take an ad break quickly. I need to cough again, and then we'll continue our conversation.
Hey Bonang, how are you?
Hi Tuli, look so beautiful. Hey, long time no see. What happened to your skin, by the way? The last time I saw you, you had a lot of blemishes and breakouts. It was so terrible, man.
Wow, thanks for that, Bernard. Luckily, I discovered DMK. Have you heard of DMK?
DMK? Who are they?
DMK is a paramedical skincare brand that specializes in all skin conditions. Would you like their number?
Yes, please.
I know you're not good at numbers, so let me give you their website address because your skin looks terrible. It's www.dmkskincare.co.za.
Whether you're an athlete or just going about your day-to-day business, use Turbo Freeze on the go for any pain relief or inflammation. It's the #1 pain relief formula. To find out more, log on to our website www.turbofreeze.co.za.
The unique experience. Living as One Events presents relationship talks, drama, Q&A sessions,
music, love stories, ladies and gents session, and lots more. Registration fee at 150 Rand.
happening at Bread of Life Foundation Venue, Honeydew Shopping Center, Bayers Nordia Drive, corner Blueberry Drive, Unit 66, Laser Park, Honeydew. Saturday, 15 September at 11 a.m. RSVP on 072-851-8702.
Live from 27 boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.
Okay, we continue with the show. I had a coughing fit. It lasted about a minute and a half. Hopefully it won't come back until the end of the show. I really need to have a chat to my little one. All those kisses and coughs in the face is not good. Okay, we've got about 7 minutes left. So I want, at some point, we'll get Kegan to read a favorite part of an excerpt in the book, his favorite one that really resonates with him. But there was a funny moment in the book for me, and I'm really trying to be as vague as possible because I want you to go out and get the book. I don't want to delve too much in the book and share too much, and then you think, well, Sam has already told us everything, so let's not go and buy it. But there's a funny moment. It's after this long chat, he ends up with a mechanic. You'll have to read what happens, what transpires. And then the mechanic starts his training. And the first thing, and it talks about expectation as well. There's a lot of life lessons here. But there's this moment where the mechanic says to him that, he's dressed in his Silver Stars Gap that he ran away with. And he says to him, no, go in the closet, get one of my other tracksuits and whatever. And then he says to him, sit on that rock. Right? And he didn't expect that. But then DJ gets frustrated and he says to him, there's two things I'm qualified now to do. I think the one he said is, am I qualified to be a rock model?
Yeah. Yes, rock model, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was incredibly funny. DJ, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, is reminiscent of a lot of kids that you've encountered in the townships. But DJ's mom, who's also is a rock, and there's a very difficult choice he eventually has to make. And I wanted you to understand the dynamics because he's got a alcoholic father who's a minor. He's got an older brother who's a criminal. He's got sister siblings who are quite capable academically. He's never been capable academically, or not. Well, he could be, but he's not inclined to.
Yeah, not his passion. Yeah.
And then you juxtapose that to them going to church on a Sunday. You juxtapose to the idea that even though this place that they lived in and they lived on top of each other was very, very clean, you juxtapose it to the idea that he is a young man who, unlike all the other friends, is not into booze, is not into girls. He actually has a part-time job, and he initially started working. He initially started building his grandmother's wall, the 10 rand,
yeah,
to be able to buy the boots. So I find that you've got this crazy environment, but you've got all these central themes that are critically important in our lives. We need cleanliness, we need focus, we need all of those kind of things. Yet it's set up in this crazy space.
That's exactly one of the life lessons. The little details are the most important in life, and that isn't that like our own lives? It's so chaotic around us. The external environment around us is so mad. This world we live in, it's so fast, it's so quick, it's hectic what's happening around us. But inside, if we can just stay still, relax, keep everything that we can control clean, healthy and moving in a direct way, this place becomes very easy. The chaos around you doesn't even have any effect over you whatsoever. And I guess that's a great... you say that, Sam, and I actually had no idea that even came across. So that's wonderful. I'm glad that did come across. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I just want to quote something. And, and this is part of the life lessons I think that you're sharing, and there's two ones. There's two lines that jump out at me, and it's on page 125. And you said, and I think it's TJ saying, I can't choose my emotions, can I? Emotions are natural, and they arise in any moment or situation in life. Do not hide away from them. Feel your emotions fully, but do not let them control your behavior. I think that's the mechanic speaking to
100%, yeah.
to TJ.
No, it is, and that's what happens to so many of us. We say things we don't mean, we do things we don't really want to do, and at the end of the day, you sit back, when you calm your head, you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. And if you can actually look at the emotion for not being you, and it's something that's arise within you, it becomes far easier to handle, because you're like, okay, why am I feeling angry right now? If you can catch yourself in that moment, you won't be you won't be angry anymore.
There's another line, also a conversation, where it says, the incredible power of being aware of everything that is happening around me. If I'm aware of everything around me, on and off the pitch, life and football actually becomes way easier to do. I just need to focus on the present moment.
Yeah. Okay, and then there's another quote that comes out, one touch, one pass, one moment at a time. And that's how he's got to treat his life and his football. And that's how us as people need to go one breath, one step, one moment at a time. We can't handle what's coming 10 years from now. We can't deal with what we've done 10 years from now. We've all had our pain. We've all had our triumphs. We're all going to have our pain and our triumphs. But if you can just make this moment successful, right now, wherever you are, make it the best you can make it, then that's all you can ever do. There's nothing more you can do in this life. And if you simplify it like that, life becomes far easier to do.
How do you find the balance between writing something compelling without being preachy? Because it could become quite easy to become self-righteous.
Completely. And in that I hold no credit for what came out of that. You know what I mean? And that I just trusted within me. The words just flowed. I didn't ever once say, you know what, I'm going to write this so I can change this person, or I'm going to write this because I feel the world needs to change, or I need to change. It literally just flowed, naturally, balanced, and I just let it say, whatever's meant to happen, it will come. I trust the universe, I trust myself, I trust this thing, trust my brain, I should say, and it just came. And I said, whatever product, if I sell this to my dad and my brother, I'll be a proud man, because that's all it was something that had to come out. And eventually they read it, and a few people read it, and they said, this is great. A couple of people are reading it again, like they really enjoyed it. And I thought, okay, well, maybe there is something, and let's see, maybe there is more to it. And I hope it doesn't come across as preachy. The biggest thing is to open your own mind, in that you don't have to agree with anything I say. You don't have to agree with one. If you one thing from that book out of 300 pages, you say that might change my life. That's what it's about. And you can disagree with other 299 things. Great, as long as I've maybe tweaked something that maybe everything isn't 100% right. Maybe everything I know isn't 100% right. And it's just to kind of say, don't be so close-minded to what we're really going through as human beings. Open your mind, and that's the biggest thing. Get them to question.
I want to give you a copy of your book, and I want you just to read your favorite maybe paragraph out of the book, something that. And I don't know if writers have that moment where you write something and you go, that's really good. If you had that moment in the book when you were writing and you're like, oh wow, and you read it a couple of times and you go, did I just put that down or something? Did you have that moment?
There's many moments like that where a couple of quotes you're like, where on earth did that come from? And there's many moments like that. And even while you're writing, you feel the emotions these characters are feeling. It's like, sure, this is really, that's why I love it so much. It is, it wakes me up.
So there's another book in the offing.
We're about 350 pages into the next one. It might have to come 2 books because it's too long. I don't know. And it's not finishing. It just doesn't want to stop. So it's just the next one, like, it'll be more funny, more lighthearted, more our generation coming out, and not so much a young generation. This is more for kids.
So Kegan, the author,
young
is here
adults.
to stay.
I hope so for the rest of my life. As long as it's there with me, I'm going to keep using it. And I heard a shocking stat before I read this, is that only 80% of grade 4s in this country can't read. And that broke my heart completely. In that grade 8, that doesn't improve much. So if I can give them a book that they might go right to the end, it can help improve our mindsets and our education a little bit, that would be really, really great. And that was the bonus of writing the book. But the next book will be more entertaining, more thrilling.
I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to read, but before we get there, I feel I have to ask you this question in the wake of this book. South Africa is going through a massive transition at the moment. We just had the Adam Katzeva listing, and we had yesterday or the day before was an interview with his brother Nick. Just your thoughts in using the book, using some of the life principles and lessons that you're trying to expound on and expand to people so that they can either incorporate it or think about it. Where in your space do you think we are at the moment in terms of race relations and kind of how we should deal with each other?
Absolutely shocking. I think it's really, really sad what I see, and that's what I'm trying to get across here too, in that every single human being on this planet is different. We are created that way for a reason, and because we're supposed to love each other and be there for one another despite these differences. And the biggest thing is that people don't have this togetherness, this common togetherness, where it is you see a white man, black man, colored, Indian, and we see difference. And yes, like I say, there's not one human being exactly the same on this planet, and there's a reason for that. It's every single one of us hasn't done what I did in the morning, what I did in the afternoon, same as no one in this planet's done what you've done in the morning, what you're doing now. We're all very, very special creations. Now, the same as we're all different, we all come from the exact same creator. Every single one of us share the exact, and we will answer for what we do, yeah? And if you don't believe me, we'll meet at the next life and we'll see and have a chat about it. But
hopefully, I can get you tickets so you can get me tickets. Okay, we've got about 30 seconds. So Kegan, read us your favorite.
All right, just quickly, this was my first lines in the book, and that's why it really sparked from this. Just after I wrote it, I said, okay, I've got a book to write. Yeah. It starts off, may I tell you my favorite moment? Do you really want to know? It is a moment of indescribable proportions. It lasts a mere few seconds with no logical explanation for what occurs within it. Time stands still. Everybody holds their breath. And for the briefest moment, you can hear a deafening silence fall amongst thousands of people. Friends and families then suddenly hold one another and show no care of who sees. They temporarily forget the hurts of their past and the worries of their future. It is a moment that unites people. The latest political or economic problem does not hold any importance over what is currently happening, and the color of your skin does not matter. People become unified in one. Your blood pumps, you jump uncontrollably, and you hug the person jumping next to you. A happy memory is created and spoken about for a lifetime. It is a moment in time everybody has experienced in the beautiful game. It is that moment a football flies into the back of the net.
Kegan Hertz, that's where we leave it. You're listening to The Weekly with me, Sam Marshall.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. Brandlive.co.za